identity goals of the auxiliary are pretty straightforward. Now, Tom Nunes, when he talks to you tomorrow, he may be a little more anal about this than I am. But as far as I can see, our goal as an organization is to have all 978 flotillas, 171 divisions, and 16 districts look like we're part of the same organization. Now, you won't hear me say they all got to use the same template or anything like that. Just let's look like we're all part of the same organization. And the second, and you'll hear me rant on this, is meet a standard of website quality. You want a nice visual appeal. There's a big difference between the websites we saw when the web first appeared in '94, or actually '89 is the technical start date, and today. And the second is we want to have a feeling of modernity. You can really tell a modern website from a not so modern website, or a website that was created by somebody who has a sense of graphics and marketing versus a website that was created by a pure geek. Okay? And finally, ease of navigation. This is one of my hot buttons. I believe a website should have no more than 8 items in the menu at any one time. Okay? And long laundry lists of items, I think it gives you hard navigation. Now, as you know, the standardized template program that the I department came up with have helped a tremendous amount in getting brand identity. And it was a good way to reverse the absolutely, in my opinion, insane policy that the auxiliary had before that, where there was a rule that said no two websites could look the same. Crazy. So that has really helped a lot. But it hasn't solved the problem completely. So now let me talk philosophy. The great dilemma in websites is separating the program, the physical code that makes the website work, from the content of the website. This is the major dilemma. In fact, philosophically, this is the most important slide I have to deliver tonight. Okay? The obsolete model of building a website, which was the early internet and today's auxiliary, is that the programmer, the geek like me, is also the writer and the editor, is also the graphic designer. And all that was wrapped into this one person who was given this title, Communications Services. And it made sense because I was communicating something and I was providing this as a service. But this model has been dead for over 10 years, even though it is alive and well in the auxiliary. The modern website model, if you look at a site like Google, which has got thousands of people working on it, but take a small, pretty modern website, the thing that you notice that the thing about this website is it was created by 3 specialists. Now, maybe not 3 people, but 3 teams of people that are specialists. The first is there's a bunch of people that are real software-centric. They're database people, they're PHP programmers, they're C programmers, it doesn't matter what it is. These are the platform and program people, and they're the software engineers. The second are the graphics people, the layout, the composition of the site, the look and feel, but not necessarily the content, okay? Just the way it looks. And then the third are the people that care about the content, what's actually on the page. Now, this is the modern model. So if you think about a district website, for example, who's truly responsible for the content? Anybody?
Leadership.
They're all responsible for the whole site. But who's responsible for the content?
Everyone.
First of all, the DSOs. Okay?
Yes.
Operations DSOs should be responsible for operations content. He or she is the person that cares about that discipline. And all the way through the organization, you can look at each one of the groups, and you can say they're responsible for the content. Roger's site, District 11 North, did this particularly well. I thought it was absolutely a wonderful model for a website because it really recognized that each of the disciplines, the people were responsible for the content. The problem they have is they had, I don't know if you have today, but they had 13 ADSOs worrying about that content because they had a very modern concept in terms of the content and the graphics, but the platform behind it was the old-fashioned HTML, and so to manage this, it took 13 people to keep it operational. So this is the way you see a modern website model, and what we're trying to do in the CS department, and as we move forward, in CS and in IT as we move forward, is to adopt this more modern website model to implement it and make it possible for you to use. So, the ideal website in 2011 is content-driven. This means that you ought to be able to take all of this content that you want to have appear on the website and throw it in and turn the crank, and out comes a website. That is the way you want a website to be today. And so I turn the crank and I get the site. I'll eventually learn how to push these buttons. You'd never know you'd never know I push the button about 1 million times a day. So now let's take a look at this. Our new auxiliary website model, and this is what brings us around to the WOW thing, is that we ought to be able to create our websites with any number of non-web specialists. People in our organization, like the DSOs, people in the flotillas, that have subject matter expertise in their area but have absolutely no web expertise whatsoever. And then to take the program and the platform, the software database tools, and instead of even requiring anybody to deal with them, have that all canned, completely and totally canned. Not canned like a template, because a template still takes a programmer to fill in, but completely canned, all right, so that my 84-year-old mother could actually put the content in. The graphics, layout, and composition, the solution for that is just include it. Have it part of this platform, of this package, and have that be canned as well. And then finally, the content, the words, the pictures, and what the site says, whomever can do it. Whomever's the best person to do that job. So that's sort of what the goal is when we move forward to separate program from content. So that long introduction now brings me to talking about the WOW project and push-button websites. Now, the whole concept of WOW is that any unit can have an instance site. That's a real website. Chris developed it. And that site is instantly personalized to your unit. You get things built in for free. You don't even have to program in. You get a staff listing, contact and meeting info. There's standard default pages on the site. It's hard to see here, but I'll let you know what some of them are. Customizable menus. You don't like what's in the left-hand side and you want to simplify the menus, you go ahead and you press the button and change them. Pages that are customizable, but not customizable in the HTML or classic programming sense, just customizable in terms of content. I just type, I get a customized page. So, it's not a template, as I said. It's a true data-driven or content-driven website. The website is already built for you. There are, however many units there were in the auxiliary, there are already that number of WOW websites. Because there is only one WOW website. And it synthesizes the site. When you access it, at that instant, the site doesn't exist until somebody browses to it. It's like the old physics problem, right? Is the cat really dead? You don't know until you open it. You know, when you open the box, the state changes right at that point. So the website is already built. The unit just puts in the content, words, and occasional images. Why do you want images on your site? You want to sweeten it up a little. So here are the built-in components of a WOW website. First of all, you get a home page. You can start your WOW site right now, as you'll see me doing. You'll get a default home page that's boilerplate that talks about the auxiliary. We hope that the lifetime of that home page is 2 milliseconds and that you'll immediately put some functional content like, welcome to our flotilla, here's who we are. There are automatic uplinks to the division and district sites. If you're a flotilla site, you'll get 2 uplinks that are automatically in the menu so that you can link to the higher level sites, and those links are put in automatically. The system knows where those sites are and puts them in. You'll automatically get a what's new page. Now, you'd have to put in the content because clearly we don't know what's new at your flotilla. You'll automatically get a contact list or a staff list. And that list could be done in such a way that if you want phone numbers to appear, they can appear. If you don't want them to appear, they won't appear. Things, PE classes. There's a national database that's being built for PE classes that you can contribute to, or you can do a PE class calendar using, say, Google Calendar and embed that right in the site. That's something I'll actually show you tonight. member training. These things can be calendar-driven, or they can be text-driven, just line items, which is my favorite for calendars. It's just a sparse matrix. A members-only page. You have to log in to get to it. A unit calendar, and more. All of these things are just completely built into the WOW system, and they come for free. So, and the thing that I like is that everything is optional. You don't have to use any of this stuff. Or you can just use 3 items. So if you're a really tiny flotilla, you don't have a lot of bandwidth, but you really want to get something up, just put in the bare minimum, your staff, who to contact to join, maybe 1 page about your activities, and a PE calendar, and you're up and running. So I'm going to give you a little demo here, assuming that I still have an internet connection, and I'm going to actually throw together just a tiny little site. I'm going to have to sit down to do that so I can run the mouse. But what we're going to do, the default on WOW is when you fire up a WOW site and you've never been there before, it's got all of those pages I've shown you. I've rigged this particular flotilla so it has nothing, which is the way I prefer it. I'm going to show you how you would make a home page, how you would embed a Google Calendar to make an event page, how you would do an announcement page, a members-only page, and then linking to the district PE calendar. Okay? In our district, we have a complete PE calendar database that's triggered by the intent to use, the intent to teach form, and I'll show you how we would actually link to that database. So, all right, barely readable, but so what you see here is there's an address on the development server which you don't really have to care about now, because as you know, an AIR site is alpha 114.1204.uscgox.info, right? The WOW address for any site in the country is alpha 114.1204.wow.uscgox.info. Type that in, you will get the WOW site for that unit. And like I said, they're already all there. Okay? So I just typed it in here. This is an absolutely empty site. And as you can see on the left, the 3 links that I get for free. District 11 SR Home, District Division 12 Home, and then there's another link in case Flotilla 12.4 has a legacy site you want to link to. You could actually put a link there. And you'll notice that there's a standard boilerplate about the auxiliary that you get for free. So, as our first mission, we are going to get rid of this home page, and we're going to put in a little home page that has some other content in it. So, as you see here, there's an area called Member Zone right at the top. And in there is my member number and my eDirectory password. And all I have to do is click on Log In, and this, all of a sudden you'll see right here, this menu item appeared that was not there before. And it says Configuration for Unit Staff Only. Now, if you are a flotilla commander, let's say this is a flotilla website, if you're a flotilla commander, a vice flotilla commander, or the FSOCS, you automatically can log in and do work on this site. If you are higher, if you are the SOCS, you can work on any site at your level and there. I, as a DSO, can work on any site in my district. Okay? So that's the hierarchy. We can change that access control list in the future if it turns out that you'd like to entrust the PE officer with the ability to put stuff, the PA officer to put stuff on your site, or the PB officer to put stuff on your site, since many publications are becoming all electronic. That's easy for us to change, and that's the type of feedback that we would like to hear from you. But, so how would I go about actually configuring a WOW site? Well, I'm just going to click on the configuration button right here, and I get this little dashboard. And on the dashboard,